Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Danny's Green Surface Cleaning. I have a special project for you all today, or on this video. I'm going to be working on cleaning up the front entrance, or the front area of this daycare. And it's called Mustard Seed
Preschool.
And this is Kristen, and she's given me the approval. And yes, I'm doing this for free because look at this. I'm going to show you some more of this here in a minute, but I drive by this area almost every day, basically every day, and I noticed that, hey, I think I can help out. I think I can help out here. So with your approval, this is a nonprofit, and you want to tell me a little bit about?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit preschool. We are the only fully inclusive preschool with an early intervention program for kids with special needs in the state of Oregon that doesn't receive state funding. We have usually about 100 kiddos that attend here of all differing abilities, and we are a school year program that also offers summer camps. And we are a nonprofit. Most of our teachers live in the neighborhood or in the nearby area, and we started out just wanting to build a school that we felt like as teachers we could bring our own kids to. And it's just kind of grown from 30 students in 2016 to close to 100, sometimes closer to 120 now. So we're very excited about being able to serve our community and our neighborhood, and love this partnership to get the front entry cleaned up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I couldn't be happier to be able to provide my services to help, kind of brighten this area up a little bit. I think it's going to look good. This is going to make a fantastic video. I hope you really enjoy it. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for your time. I'm going to get to work on this tomorrow. So not right now. I'm in my shiny clothes. Look at that. New hat. I'm not wearing this tomorrow. This is only for, making me look good. First impressions. So all right, so enough of me yapping. I'm going to start getting to work. Thank you for your time, and I can't wait for the reveal on this one. This is going to be good, so stay tuned. All right, well, today's the day to get this whole area cleaned up, so let's take a closer look, shall we? All right, as I'm getting hit by a sprinkler, it's a good view of what I have in store on this one. So enough of me yapping, time to roll out some hoses, crank this machine on. But first, let's get rid of some of this heavy buildup. Flat nose shovel this area a little bit. Turbo nozzling all this stuff everywhere. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to scoop up. It's easier and lighter when it's dry. That was quite a bit of moss just for a small little area. It's about that full right there. Yeah. There's still a lot more left, so that will help a little bit, a wee bit. It's time to let the fun begin. So make some noise. Let's wake up the neighborhood. All right, on projects like this, right from the beginning, it is kind of the question, where do I start? And usually it's at the high point, kind of work my way down. That's where the water is going. So I'm going to start up over here and get all this done, all that, and then work over there. Super long arm. And you know, truck's parked over here. Start in this corner, work my way that way, and then once I get that location done, get the retaining wall, kind of move my way yonder, get all that brick cleaned, get the stairways clean, kind of clean that up a little bit because there's not a mucky mess, and then I'll come over here and work on this way down and do a final cleanup and rinse down. That's my game plan. I've already said it before, enough of me yapping. I think I'm done yapping. Time to get to work. Let's get this done. Sprinklers are still going. I'm gonna get wet anyway. I'm gonna start off by using my turbo nozzle on this. I think I'm gonna, for the most part, turbo nozzle this entire area. Maybe use my surface scrubber here. It's pretty thick, the dirt and the muck. I think this will work a little bit better. This is fun. Got the, oops, sorry about that. Let me get that smudge off of there. Oops. Thought the sprinklers were done, but apparently they're not. Must be on a double cycle. Great. That angle didn't work. You guys got all wet. All right. Here. Let's get this brick wall. Part of it done. It's gonna be good. You guys ready for this? Sorry about the lighting on this side. Nothing I can really do about it. But this side should shine like a brand new penny. Okay, I'm gonna let all this muck kind of drain a little bit. In the meantime, start working on all that. I think I got something on my lens and on my glasses. Yeah. Did a job. But I think this stuff has dried up a little bit. Let's get this cleaned up. time to take a little break and clean all this stuff up. Kind of feel bad if people have to walk through that, so. Machine a break, hoping my camera doesn't overheat. Dirty. All right, well, the sun's coming out, so the big hat goes on, and it's time for post-treatment, and we're about done. All right, got everything wrapped up. Just called Kristen to have her come out and take a look. And it looked pretty good. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think it looked pretty good, and I am pretty beat. Should look a little bit brighter.
It looks amazing. Oh my gosh. I mean, a lot brighter.
Yeah.
Not a little bit brighter,
Yeah.
a lot. Yes. Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
Wonderful.
You're amazing.
Oh,
Thank you.
stop. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. No. I did collect quite a bit.
Oh my
so
god, I'm so curious.
I know people online are like
Yeah.
wanting to
They
know
wanna see what's
how
in
much
there. I do.
how much crap I scooped up.
I can only imagine.
So this thing is somewhat full.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So that's probably about 50, 60
It's
pounds,
heavy,
maybe
yeah.
100 pounds. And then I got these heavy buckets here that are
Oh
slowly draining.
gosh.
And
Oh my gosh. That's wild.
tons of heavy ones, but I really appreciate this.
I really appreciate this.
yeah.
You changed our entryway.
It was fun. Hopefully the video turns out good. You know, I never know until I see the footage, but it's a lot of work for it not to go well. So hopefully the footage goes well. Hopefully everybody out there likes it, and you know, keep watching, keep following, keep subscribing, share, comment. You know, you guys make this possible. So if it weren't for the YouTube followers and stuff, I couldn't afford to do stuff like this. So keep coming so I can do more of this.
So thank you.
Yeah, she says thanks.
So thanks.
Yeah, they appreciate it, and I love the fact that people appreciate this kind of stuff. So we'll see you next time. I'm out. I am dying. I need to go get some water and rinse off. But thank you again. Thank all of you, and we'll see you next time on Danny's Green Service Cleaning. We're out.